trust Ferguson Roof Systems to replace your roof, we go the extra mile to protect your home and property. On every job, we deploy durable netting to protect your home's exterior and landscaping. It's just one more reason why you should call Ferguson Roof Systems today.
All right, Angela and Craig, I see you on Facebook. Already throwing me some stars to start out the broadcast. You must be excited about the winter weather. Are you ready about a storm? Oh my goodness. All right, so glad you're here tonight. John, I see you shoot me some stars. I appreciate you, sir. I try to give as many of you guys a shout out as I can, but I have to look down at my phone to do it, and a lot of times to look at the maps. So also as a reminder, if you do shoot me any questions, try to hold them toward the end of the broadcast when I can take a look at comments, because otherwise they'll fly by and I'll completely miss them. Diana, I see you. Throw me some stars. Mary, appreciate you as well. YouTube as well. You guys have been throwing me some what do they call it over there? They don't call it stars. They call it super chats or whatever. So thank you for that as well on YouTube. So thanks for joining me on YouTube, on Twitter, on Rumble, and on Facebook. Come to the right place. We're here to talk about the winter storm that's coming up here for the next couple of days. That'll be affecting not only Oklahoma, but surrounding states. That includes Arkansas. It includes Texas. So we're going to be seeing a lot of winter precipitation in the form of freezing rain, sleet, and some snow. This isn't really going to be a big snow maker for pretty much anybody. It's mostly going to be an ice maker. Now, the ice will come in two forms. It will come in the form of flash freezing of liquid rain, and then it will become in the form of sleet, which is little bitty pebbles that just bounce around. A little bitty clear, you can see them, and almost looks like Dippin' Dot size, but they bounce around, and they don't stick to the power lines and the trees, which is good news. So they're not really a power outage part of the equation, but they are a nuisance as far as roadways are concerned. And then also for the freezing rain part, that's a nuisance for roadways and is definitely a nuisance for power outages. And I'm going to show you who's going to give you the power outages, who's going to see the catastrophic ice storm that I warned of just a few days ago, last week, and then we're going to go from there. So right out of the gate, already know, you're going to 500 of you are going to say, what about school closures? All right, let me stress, I have no control into that. What I can tell you, this is from my knowledge, and it could be outdated, but this is what I understand happens. 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, superintendents, everybody gets up, they check out the roadways, see how it's going, see what the forecast looks like for the day, check out the radar, and then they make their call. And that kind of sets the stage in motion. Then the word gets passed around. Now with virtual schooling and stuff, I guess it's a lot easier to make that call than it used to be, but again, I'm not in that department. I can just tell you what the weather's going to do. So that's to get that out of the way. So you're gonna, and whoever types that in later, just refer them to the beginning of this broadcast, just so we can clear the air. All right, now, as far as precipitation goes, when does it start? Well, technically it already has, if you really want to get down to it. And I'm going to show you the radar here in just 2 seconds. By the way, on Facebook, if you are late or you are not getting notified anymore, hit the button I just posted in the comments section. But you better be quick because it'll go fast. Sign up to get messages through your direct message from me, or conversely, you can check your follow settings for the page and make sure that Facebook did not kick you out of getting all live notifications for videos, which typically it does. Okay, so let's go take a look at the big picture here across the state in Oklahoma. So this little gray area that we see here on the map in the radar view, this is actually very low clouds and some freezing drizzle. And it's about 21 degrees, 19 degrees here across the Oklahoma City metro area. And so that means that, yes, any precipitation that gets heavy enough will stick to bridges, overpasses, and roadways. And there are a few reports here that show up of freezing drizzle here within the last 15 to 30 minutes across the Oklahoma City metro. Now, it's not just here. If we span out the state, you can see a lot more of these little pink reports. There's some down around McAllister. There's some up here in the Tulsa area. So you're going to need to be careful if you're going to be traveling out and about tonight on area roadways. As you can see, temperatures across the state are into the teens north and west, 20s central, south, even the southeast they're below freezing. And this cold weather made it all the way to Dallas. Dallas is at or below the freezing point in the Metroplex, and they are in trouble when it comes to ice for tomorrow. They'll be one of the hot spots that we talked about. All right, here's a big picture of the winter weather advisories in the purple. That does mean we're going to be seeing at least some light winter precipitation. That is the minimum threshold. That is the weakest advisory you can issue for winter weather. A little stronger wording would be the winter storm watch, Obviously, much more stronger than that would be a winter storm warning or an ice storm warning, and of course a blizzard warning. But we're not going to see those, at least around most of Oklahoma, but maybe not too far away. We'll see. Here's a look at the big picture across the country. You can see it's going to be affecting other areas of southern Missouri and on Illinois from there, and then down to Texas. Now this little spot that's kind of missing out here in western Texas, don't worry, that area will fill in. It's just the Weather Service offices probably down there fighting each other as to what to put in that little box. But if you do look at the wind speeds across Oklahoma, we do have a north wind out there, gusting up around 19 to 20 to 28 to 30 miles per hour. But we also have, I don't know if we've already got like some indication of some missing stations or not from either some of the icing conditions on the anemometers. That usually is what happens if you can get heavy enough drizzle. But looking upstream here, these are looking at temperatures, and they're in the dew points around 0 degrees. So this is definitely Arctic air, no question about it. It is moving southward, again on a very strong north wind across the state, and that cold front has cleared us. So if you look at this picture as well, for temperatures, we're getting into the 20s and some teens. The panhandle, though, my goodness, they're in the single digits. And then if you factor in that wind we mentioned up there with gusts to 30, and actually this is the wind chill, it doesn't even take into account the gusts. It's Jody yelled, "You're freezing." So I don't know, but my condition looks good on mine. Let's keep our fingers crossed. All right, here's a look at the, keep me posted there, Jody. Here's a look at the satellite viewpoint. And I'm showing you a different view this time around. So our low area right here is dipping down to the jet stream. But let me show you like this. So this dude's coming in like this, and then it'll come in, it'll zip across like so. Well, what it's doing, this is the northern branch. It's tapping into the southern branch, which is doing this right here. And that's pumping in the Pacific moisture. And there's a big storm system right here. There's another one here. So we've got a couple lined up that'll be coming on in to our region. So we do have the moisture train coming. So here's a look. We flatten that down in a two-dimensional view. And the system out here in the west in California, that's our upper level low. As we move through time, it'll zip through Southern Cal, spin there for a day, and then start to kick east and then come into Texas as we head into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. And there's a lot of lift. All this area here is a mega lift in the atmosphere, and it's centered right here over Texas and Oklahoma. So we are going to get some heavy precipitation out of that regardless of what the models think is going to happen. There's too much lift to overcome for it to spit out light QPF. All right, timing on this. We can time it out in waves of the heaviest amount of lift. The first time around, let's move through here. We've got 12 Zulu, which is about 6 o'clock in the morning here in Oklahoma and Central Plains. And you can see all the way down from Texas to Oklahoma, there's that red on the map. That indicates lift in the atmosphere, which should be generating light precipitation, maybe even moderate at times. There's mid-morning. There's the lunchtime hour. Again, the brighter the colors, the stronger the lift. There's eastern Oklahoma and Arkansas. That's some heavy sleep-making lift that's going by the way, into the afternoon and evening out east. That continues out across Arkansas. Then as we head into Tuesday morning, look what happens out of Texas. You see that big batch of lift? That's round number 2. Round number 2 then moves through Oklahoma during the day. It's a quick mover, though, from morning to afternoon, and then it kind of vaporizes, and then we'll head on into the period of Wednesday, and that is where more lift starts to develop. And this is where the models may struggle a little bit on what to do because it's pretty far out there in time for accuracy. But look at that big area of lift that moves through North Texas into southern Oklahoma, and that probably another good wave of ice that gets generated, and then that's on into Arkansas as well. So that's kind of the big picture, all right, as far as just the lift, the upper levels, the moisture that we need, temperatures. The only thing you need to take away out of this is watch the blue line. This blue line is the freezing line. I'm going to put this into motion, and you watch. This is, of course, from tonight through tomorrow. Yeah, you can see some purple up there on the map. We don't want those. There's some nasty cold temperatures up there. But you can see that blue line goes all the way down. Let me stop it here. This is midday Tuesday. This blue line is through Tyler and then right down into Aggie Land, Bryan College Station of 32 degrees? Yeah, 33. And then back in just south of Waco down toward Austin, then back out to the hill country of Texas. So this Arctic air went far and south. There's a problem with that when you factor in precipitation on top of that. And that equals a large area of ice. So I got to give it up to the Canadian model that nailed the farthest track of the ice that the rest of the models are just now catching up to. All right, here's Wednesday. Now, here's the big kicker. What happens Wednesday? This system, remember, it's a 3-day event, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The system isn't coming to the state until Wednesday night, Thursday for Texas and Oklahoma. So it doesn't even clear the region until Thursday. And the good news is we should be all above freezing on Thursday. But what about Wednesday when the third big wave comes in? In the morning hours, we're all below freezing, all of us. If we hit into the midday hours, you start to see how it chips away at our readings, which are no longer below zero. And by the afternoon, the models like to warm us up into the mid to upper 30s over many areas of Oklahoma. And with the exception of this little highlighted stuck trench of temperatures below below 32, the rest of the area warms up above freezing as well. So the question is this going to happen? That's the only iffy part of the forecast. Right now, I'm going to say it doesn't happen. But if it does, this alleviates a lot of problems for any additional ice accumulations across this part of the state of Oklahoma, this part of Texas, obviously, and of course in this part of Texas. It just kind of leaves the core here where the center of the high is left over. So that is the only really questionable thing that may happen in the middle of the week. It does get cold back again at night, though, so still might kind of go back and forth between rain and freezing rain. But I'm just going to keep it all frozen just to avoid that whole mess. And I'm going to say that everything that drops from the sky turns into ice on contact. All right, so here's a look at the forecast output now. We get into the details here. So again, tonight we've got freezing drizzle already. Be careful, bridges and overpasses. Now, by 6 o'clock in the morning, there's that little... And I'm going to zoom in, by the way. I'm showing you the big picture first. So you can see Arkansas and you can see Texas, what happens. But again, the early morning hours, there's a little signature of some sleet and freezing rain moving through central and eastern Oklahoma. It back builds into southwest Oklahoma along the Red River. By midday Monday, it blossoms down there around Ardmore. So again, some freezing rain for you guys. Down toward Lawton, Wichita Falls, and then Dallas. Yep, you guys light up like a Christmas tree for freezing rain. And that continues throughout the rest of your Monday down south, down I-35 toward Waco, through Dallas. And there's that little mixture of purple, which is sleet and freezing rain mixture here across Oklahoma and Arkansas through the afternoon on Monday. That's wave one. All right, so wave one wraps up tomorrow night. Moves away. Now, what about wave 2? So here's Tuesday morning, right on clockwork, 6 a.m. again, already going nuts in North Texas. That moves northward across Red River, moves into central Oklahoma again by mid-morning. But look at Dallas, Fort Worth, down south from there. And you guys, why are you talking about Dallas? Believe it or not, I got a lot of followers in Dallas. I cover all of Oklahoma and surrounding states. So if you don't want to hear about Dallas, just go like this, la 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 la, and that way you don't have to hear about it. But I'm going to speak about it because it's going to be a catastrophic area. If you want to see what a big city looks like with a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of ice accumulation without power, that's your signature. All right, so let's see. Let's go to midday Tuesday. Still icing down there in Dallas, and then Arkansas, Little Rock. You guys getting hammered over there as well. It's a secondary bullseye of major accumulation of the ice totals. And then back in Texas, you can see the beginning stages of what is going to be the next round that'll develop here on Wednesday. So that was just the first 2 rounds. There really wasn't any good, accurate model data past that because they don't know what to do with temperatures. So I just don't even bother showing it to you. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. So here's that close-up view. Like I said, 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning. If you're wondering, is it going to be kind of slick around Oklahoma City? Yes. Are you going to be heading out to work and school, etc.? Up to you. Check the roadways, see how things are going, etc. Let's see, for 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and you can see, get a lot of purple here. We should have a lot of sleet with this versus the freezing rain. In other words, there should be, if I just had to kind of guess a ratio, kind of like a 3 to 1. 3 parts sleet to 1 part light freezing rain. Just because the profiles mostly support sleet, but I can't rule out the freezing rain element here along the I-40 corridor and points north to Tulsa. But yeah, you can even squeeze in a lot of light snow. Like to see that little blue signature for Tulsa, northeast Oklahoma. Again, along I-40 and points to the north will be a mixture of sleet and a little bit of snow possible for these first 2 waves. South of I-40, it's all freezing rain with a little bit of sleet mixed in. So I-40 is a dividing line. We're getting a mixture of all 3. All right, so the rest of Monday afternoon, there's the heavy stuff moving through eastern Oklahoma into northeastern Texas. And then let's go on to the next round. Again, Tuesday morning, lights up, southern Oklahoma, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, it's already moving through Oklahoma City, points southward. This is going to be some moderate freezing rain. Yeah, the models try to put a little snow mixed in there as well as it moves through Tulsa. So Tulsa, you get a mixed bag with this secondary round, and then the rest of the rain continues down to the south and east. So that's your close-up view of what happens Monday and Tuesday. Now, the high-resolution model for that period cranks out anywhere from about 1/4 of an inch to about a 1/2 inch of freezing rain accumulation out here in eastern Oklahoma along I-40 toward Fort Smith, and then back down here in the higher elevations of Oklahoma City to south of McAllister, and then down across Red River, Paris, back into Dallas-Fort Worth. And a matter of fact, just before I go any further, let me just show you what it does for ice totals. Just again between now and Tuesday afternoon in this area, so you can have a good idea. So again, there's Paris, about half an inch in the purple area. Sometimes maybe gets a little higher than that. And this is just first round 1 and 2. So about half inch down here across Dallas-Fort Worth down to Waco. And this isn't even the round 3. So you can get my drift here. We're not looking good. It only takes a quarter of an inch of ice accumulations to knock down some power issues. You get a half inch or more, you got major problems. If you look at the big picture and you try to blend all the models together, I often tell you that the model blend is great because it kind of gives you the general outline of where your max area is, for precipitation. In this case that we're looking at, the P-type precipitation type is the freezing rain accumulations. It is, however, late to the party when it comes to true amounts. It has been extremely light, overly too light. In the last run, it finally got heavy enough to even show something decent. So I think this will still trend heavier, so these amounts will be wrong, but the outline of where it'll occur will be right. So you can see how it's a very large area. And again, this is why I was worried last Wednesday when I saw the signals on this, and I know the general path of this is a classic ice storm event, and that's going to affect a lot of people, and some people are going to get hammered. And where they do, they will have a catastrophic ice storm that's going to cause some power problems. It's going to last for days or maybe even a week, depending on how big, how broad, how much ice, and how much damage is done. That's a lot of area to cover for crews to deal with. All right, so here's a look at the NAM model and the Canadian model. The difference between these two. This just came in. This is this evening, hot off the presses. All right. So the take home, and let me go ahead and outline it for you. These guys have been lockstep and barrel the last couple of days as far as the general placement. The difference is the NAM was way too light. I mean, stupid light, kind of like the blend of models. It was unbelievable. It finally started to crank out the precip in some areas. Not all of them, but at least some of them. And if you notice, some of these amounts are getting up around half an inch or more in these little darker areas. So it's getting there. I still think it has little ways to go. Now, the Canadian model, unfortunately, has a bias, which is too much. It loves ice storms, but it overproduces. And it gets real excited. And it's got about 1 inch to 3/4. And in reality, I usually divide by 2 as a rule of thumb. So this area here, when it's getting close to 2 inches, not even quite, 1 and 3/4, divide by 2, and you'll get the true amount. So 3/4 of an inch of ice, to me, is doable. A little bit more than that, yeah, it's on the table in this area here. So who is getting the bullseye? In other words, who, as it looks right now, has the best shot at seeing some really crippling ice events? So basically, it's going to be North Texas, including Dallas-Fort Worth, and it's going to be over here in central Arkansas. Now, there is a secondary area, which is still kind of in question. That's going to be this region out here in western Texas, and then in between here in southeast Oklahoma. That's kind of the other region that may end up being problematic. So we can just do a 1, a 2, a 3, and potentially down here in the hill country of 4. So this area here, kind of like where the Canadian is who is going to see the most devastating ice accumulations. There is support in the, I think I'm in the Dallas area. Let's see. Yeah, this is the Dallas area. There is support in the high resolution SREF model runs of ridiculous amounts of precipitation. It's got over 1 inch. So even though the Canadian is an outlier in that regard, there is actually support for very heavy precipitation. Again, I don't think it'll be that much. Let's hope not. I don't know. I think once maybe you get to about 3/4 or so, I'm not sure any much more than that will make a difference. The damage will be done by that point, but we'll see what happens. I was going to show you some of these, but let's do something different. Let's go to get specifics. Let's go to where the meat and potatoes are on all this. Okay, so let's take a look first off at Tulsa for tomorrow morning. So let's recap here. Remember, a little bit of freezing drizzle overnight tomorrow morning, but you're going to get a lot of sleet tomorrow. And the models right now have you up about, they get some crazy amounts. This thing has anywhere from a half inch to about 3/4 of an inch of sleet. So remember, that's almost 1 inch of sleet, and that's not freezing rain, in other words, on the branches and trees. That's just those little pebbles that'll bounce around, cause problems on the roads. And that starts again in the morning hours, late morning for you, through the afternoon, and then wrapping up in the evening. Now, you'll still have a little bit of light freezing drizzle, light freezing rain mixed in with that, but that's a pretty good amount. For Oklahoma City, we're going to have the same idea, same pattern, but a little less. So we're only about 1/4 of an inch of sleet here. So not as much sleet, and we'll still have a little bit of freezing rain and drizzle mixed in with that, enough again to cause problems on the roads. So that takes care of our region for tomorrow. Dallas-Fort Worth, as I talked about. The red here indicates all freezing rain. So that starts with drizzle in the morning hours for them as well for drive time. And the rain kicks in to about a quarter of an inch of freezing rain for Monday during the mid part of the day. What that means is a lot of peaks will go to work, and they think no big deal. They haven't been paying attention. The weather guys down there did not sound the alarms days ago. They waited until just this afternoon in the evening to start talking about it. Nobody got a chance to prepare. Nobody got a chance to do anything. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be a messy afternoon for Dallas for the commute and all the traffic. And then some drizzle overnight in the evening hours. And then we got secondary round here, which is another quarter to 3/10. So that's half an inch of freezing rain just for Monday and Tuesday. And that's not even accounting that third round. There is a lot of support, like I said, for higher numbers down there than that. I'm not going to show you that because I could show you all kinds of stuff until I'm blue in the face on data. It's fun to look at. Let's just take a quick stab at what the potential sleet accumulations can be here across Oklahoma. This is a look at the European data from this morning. So even though it is a little outdated, it at least had the idea of the sleet track. And that's through the heart of I-44. So there's kind of your mixture there. And some amounts on the scale do go up to around half an inch of sleet peppered in. It did actually kind of favored parts of central Oklahoma versus, say, northeast. So it's a little different than what the other model we looked at. Remember, this is older data. The new data that comes in around midnight tonight may shift some of this heavier stuff to the east. But regardless, it's a lot of sleet for Monday. Through Wednesday is my next thought. There should be a little bit of snow mixed in with this and peppered through. Again, I-40 runs east to west right about in this area. So along that boundary, points up to the north. Nothing really, to talk about, just something neat to see and, kind of nice. I did show you already some of the ice accumulations. Let me zoom in. No, you know what? I already did that. So yeah, we already covered that. I got so much to talk about here. One thing I will tell you again real quick, on my website, AaronTotalWeather.com, you can go to the Weather Data tab, click on the multi-state road conditions, and that's where I'm in right now. I'll refresh this here for you. It shows you temperatures on here, and it gives you my little secret here. So you read this little paragraph up here at the top. Usually, rule of thumb, if you can get temperatures, soil temperatures, to be into the 30s, it's a lot easier to freeze precipitation on the roadways. A secondary thing that you can watch for is if the actual air temperature is below 28 degrees, anything falling from the sky, regardless of how warm it has been, will freeze the roadway. So that's kind of like the magic temperature for day and night. Okay, so on the road conditions, you can actually, this just now starting. In other words, this was blank a moment ago, but you can start to see some of these cameras that come up across the state. And you'll be able to click on these. There'll be some lights on here. These are crews that are finally getting out and about for tracking to treating the roads and whatnot. So this will light up here tonight and tomorrow morning. And then, of course, you can look at these moving cameras, so to speak, and you'll be able to see, how fast traffic is moving on the roadways. Right now, it's moving at a pretty good clip, even though we do have some light freezing drizzle out there. If we get it heavy enough to where it doesn't kind of evaporate off the surface, that can quickly go downhill. But you can click on a lot of these. This expands all across the state. And then finally down here, you've got Kansas on here. You've got Missouri, like I mentioned before. Looks like they've already got some road closures and problems on the roadways, so check those guys out. Same thing for Colorado, and then I got Texas on here. You can drive the friendly Texas way, and then Arkansas as well. Now, you can get this information on my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It's free, Apple, Google Play. I added it to the menu, so you can find it real easy that way as well. Okay, so here's a look at the temperature trend. Next couple of days, we're stuck. Don't look for much change. We'll hold into the low to mid-20s. Temperatures will be into the teens. And then as we go into Wednesday, this is the wild card. Do we actually get above freezing? I'm going to say no. And then after that, we should get above freezing for Thursday afternoon. May not be 46, maybe like 40, but it'll get there. And then the weekend looks pretty good with a quick rebound into the 50s and 60s. Overnight lows getting back above freezing. On the extended side, this is probably okay, but I got to warn you. I'll just tell you. I'll just show you. I'm just going to give you the bad news. Let's just do it. Hey, if I got to see it, you got to see it, right? That depends on, your version of good news or bad news. I'll let you decide where it is. All right, so here we go. You ready? Storm number 1, okay, that we're dealing with now, moving through. Okay, and then we got a little something that moves through over the weekend. This is on Saturday, but we're kind of moisture starved, so don't look for much of that. Maybe some passing clouds. Could be a flurry, I guess, but other than that, nothing to speak of. Then there's storm number 2. And now remember, I mean the upper level storm. I don't mean how many waves will accompany the storm, like, waves of precipitation like this one. We've got 3 waves of precipitation for the one storm. This one, I don't think we'll be in that type of a situation, but it's still going to be a big storm that comes in on Tuesday and a Wednesday of next week. So that's storm number 2. And that'll have some wintry precipitation with it, and that moves on by. And then we've got yet another one that zips through, and that's on, looks like the following Tuesday. So they're almost about a week apart, these little guys zipping through. So the point being is we have a lot of active weather and an active weather pattern coming up here across Oklahoma and the southern plains. All we need is just enough of that Arctic air or even continental polar air to work with, and then we can end up with some, more winter precipitation. So that's what I got for you. All right, so that is, I think, everything I wanted to briefly discuss. So if you're late, you missed it, you need a quick recap, all that stuff. Alicia, cover my eyes so I don't have to see it. I hear you. Okay, so here's the deal. You have so much to say. Now imagine, I did news for 12 years, and we had 3 minutes and 30 seconds to cram everything I just did down your throat. There's no way you could get all into the science and the fun stuff of weather in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. You just basically have to trust me. I basically get on there and I say, it's going to be ice tomorrow. Trust me. Okay, back to you at the desk. And that's really all it is. So here I get to prove my case in the court of law, public opinion. All right, so here we go. This is how this all breaks down. In case, again, you were late, you want to see a little recap. Bottom line is there really going to be a catastrophic ice storm? Yes. Is it going to be in Oklahoma? Almost out of Oklahoma. It's in far southern, southeastern Oklahoma. Red River, around Ardmore area, probably in that region, to the east, northeast, to probably just right around McAllister to Fort Smith. That's the most favored zone for that. That extends into Arkansas. Bad news for Arkansas, pretty much all of central Arkansas. You're going to have a lot more sleet mixed in the north side of Arkansas. It'll be all freezing rain, the south side, and the central side will probably be a little bit of mix, but still bad news. And then into North Texas, from Denton, Gainesville, Dallas-Fort Worth, down a little bit more down toward Waco, back out west, Weatherford, that whole area, another bullseye, catastrophic event. Too much ice, too much accumulation. About a 3/4 of an inch of ice down there is possible. Same thing for Arkansas. Oklahoma, it's hard to say, maybe half inch down there for southeastern, that southeastern third of the state, so to speak. So those are the hardest hit areas for just pure ice. And there'll be still some out across the hill country and parts of western Texas. I think, of course, you have the big wind farms, ERCOT out there. So I don't know how they're going to do with power outages and rolling blackouts. And that's a whole other animal. I'm not part of that. But so do expect some problems down there in Texas because of the storm system. The timing of this, again, is starting with tomorrow morning, early, daybreak, and it lasts through about Wednesday night. And then I think temperatures moderate pretty quickly for Thursday, and whatever's out there melts. So if you're traveling on Thursday and Friday, you should be okay everywhere, from Oklahoma to Texas to Arkansas. Again, you might have some issues driving wherever you're going, whether or not they have power or not, in other words, to get gas and stuff, but again, that's beyond my purview. The only iffy part of the forecast is Wednesday in the afternoon. Do we moderate the Arctic air mass enough to where we get above freezing to help alleviate that last round of what otherwise is going to be a lot of icing? To be TBD. Okay, so then that's the big picture. Now for a little bit more specifics, freezing drizzle off and on tonight for Oklahoma, especially central, southern, eastern, including Tulsa, and southwestern Oklahoma, and that extends down into North Texas overnight into early tomorrow morning. So and that's enough. You get a couple of hundredths of that stuff. It's enough to make an ice skating rink. You will know it when you get up early. Check my weather app, AT's Weather to Go, for the latest radar view. You can also look at the road conditions, like I mentioned, show you that on my website as well, and that will show you how the roads are doing. I'll see if there's traffic sliding off into ditches already. That'll give you the best quickly access. I mean, you can find all that stuff out within 60 seconds. You don't have to wait, turn on the TV and wait 5 or 10 minutes before they finally get around to it. You can find out in 60 seconds. You're done. You can move on. So that's one thing you can do for that. But otherwise, school conditions and stuff, I talked about at the beginning of this. I have no control over that. They'll make that decision probably by 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, then after that, you will have a big, heavy round of sleet that moves through from southern, southwestern to central Oklahoma daybreak. and that will shift slowly eastward during the day into the Tulsa area and afternoon for eastern Oklahoma, then into Arkansas. A lot of sleet with that. A little bit of freezing rain mixed in with that. A little bit more freezing rain in far southeastern Oklahoma. Might even get a little bit of snowflakes mixed in on the far northern end of that batch. So that's north of 40, probably north of 44, maybe right around Tulsa, in that zone. It won't amount to anything, but there it is. Okay, so that's round one. Round two then comes in Tuesday morning, same time, same place, same event, freezing rain and sleet mixture that moves through the state. You'll have a little bit more snow probably mixed in on the back end, western and northern fringe of it here in central Oklahoma. So don't be surprised to see a little snow with that through Oklahoma City and also again into Tulsa with that one. But again, negligible amounts, dusting at most, kind of a deal. Then we are into round number 3. Round number 3, I see you, Jared. You're welcome, man. Round number 3, just spread the word. The AT covers you guys down there in Dallas. Round number 3 then comes in for Wednesday, and especially Wednesday. Well, just when it's a long round. It's a big round. So just all day Wednesday and into Thursday morning for all of Texas, and then on into Oklahoma. So that's the final round. There'll be a cold rain shower, maybe back in wet snowflake as this low wraps up and moves through Thursday morning and midday, but it's not going to be anything. I think we'll all be above freezing and the damage will be done. We'll see what happens out of all that. That's why I said you could travel after that for Thursday and Friday. All right, so I keep getting the roads. Will they be okay? And my wife has asked me the same question 10 times today. And she's been in the house where I've told her the same answer 10 times. So, you guys, I've told you the same answer 10 times. I see a trend here. But no, unfortunately, I don't expect the roads to be fine at all. We're already in the low to mid 20s across the entire state as it is, some teens. Again, any moisture out there in that environment will freeze. The only saving grace you may have is if it's super light, really light misty, that it has a chance to kind of evaporate because there is some lower dew point values in here. Then that helps you. Otherwise, if it comes down heavy enough in little waves or spurts, and you're happen to be in one of those, wrong place, wrong time, you can't drive on ice. You can drive on snow, but you can't drive on ice. So I don't know what to tell you other than you better be prepared in your vehicle for being stranded if that were to be the case, which means make sure you stay warm. May take a while for crews to get to you or whatever, so make sure you got a little water with you, something like that, so that you can brave the elements for a while until help arrives. Trying to think. Jessica, does it look like McAllister will lose power? So here's the deal on the power outages. Now, and this is another thing. Oklahoma has had, how many ice storms in the last decade? And it's a natural tree trimmer. So that's kind of good news in a way because you get rid of a lot of the trees around the power lines, right? So, that means you get less power just due to that element. But you still have the lines themselves. Again, 1/4 inch of ice is all it takes to start to bring down some of the lines. And then a 1/2 inch or more is really bad news. I didn't mention this early in the broadcast because I got so much in my head I forgot to mention it. But we will have winds gusting over 20 to 30 miles per hour, and that will also cause problems with any ice that's on power lines. So that will cause some power outages too. And McAllister, the model data could be as much as 1/2 inch of ice accumulations down there for freezing rain. And if it's not quite to McAllister, it's just south of you into the other area of Oklahoma, southeast Oklahoma. So you're kind of on the northern fringe of where the heaviest precipitation shield for that would be. So yeah, I'd plan on it and then just hope it doesn't happen. That way you're prepared. Let me see. Okay, so I promised you guys I'd answer some of your questions. Again, if you held them to the end of the broadcast. So let me go YouTube here real quick. So hold them on Facebook. Give me about 10 seconds here not really 10. Give me 30 to skim through this here real quick. So that way I can try to get everybody. And a lot of times, you guys send me questions. I wish I could answer them all, and then I get inundated, and then I sometimes run out of time because we spend too much of it looking at maps from the forecast. Jill's going to skate into work. Boy, wouldn't that be something? Robert, man, he's been begging me every day. Am I going to make it to Denton or not? Should I... Looks like I should be good to leave tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think so. You can see. Go for it. You're either going to make it or you're not. But it's gonna be a mess down there. Like I said, the information was hard to digest for the North Texas area. So a lot of the weather people down there just they couldn't believe their eyes, and then all of a sudden it hit them in the face like a Mike Tyson hit, and all of a sudden like, oh, we probably should sound the alarms. I'm like, y'all are asleep at the wheel. But anyway, so yeah, travel. I don't think it's gonna be good anywhere between here and there. So, but I could be wrong. Check the roads. Let me see. I just forecast the precipitation amounts and give you some of the tricks and tips for the roadways. But in the end, that's all a fun guessing game. All right. What is Altus going to get? I didn't catch it. Ronnie. It's going to get some freezing rain and some sleet. So both of those. You get both of those. And you'll probably get anywhere from a quarter to a quarter inch to maybe half inch at most. You're kind of on the far northwestern fringe, so I doubt the half inch. You're probably more likely the quarter inch deal. But it might be enough to cause some sporadic outages. So just kind of keep that in mind. But anyway, you guys, thanks for chiming in on YouTube and putting all your questions in here. I wish I could answer a lot more. So I don't know anything about schools being closed. Double D, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so back on Facebook. Already freezing the surfaces here in Okemah. Now there you go. That's a live weather report from Jeremy Strickland. Or no, that was Jeremy. All right, good to know. So there you go. There's already some problems out there on the roadways. You gotta be careful, guys. Stephanie, yeah, they should follow me. Stillwater, Crystal, yeah, you're gonna get a little bit of mostly sleet, maybe a little bit of light snow mixed in. If you get any freezing rain or drizzle at all, it's very, very light. And your deal is like the freezing drizzle is just light enough to cause it to be a little slippery, but nothing as far as accumulating power or anything like that. You don't have to worry about power. Kind of give you an idea. Matter of fact, there was a map I could have shown. It was just so behind that I didn't show it. But I'll go ahead and show it because this was the first time it actually showed anything. Moderate impact is what they have right now. And this is based off the Weather Service data. Weather Service looking at data, and they finally put a moderate impact here. And I always tell you guys what they're going to do before they do it. So I'm just going to tell you what are they going to do. They're going to make the moderate impact probably go with something like this. So this will make the moderate impact. They'll keep it probably about like that. I don't mind that part there. And then I don't have another color, so I'll do this color here. And then they'll do a major impact probably like this. And then they'll do a major impact probably like this. Maybe I'll extend this one down a little bit more, and then this one will come down to like that. But anyway, so that's how that's going to be, and that'll check off this box and check off this box. And major impact, if you're curious, let's just open that up. Major impact is expect considerable disruptions to daily life. Dangerous or impossible driving conditions. Avoid travel if possible. Widespread closures and disruptions to infrastructure may occur. A moderate impact is the same idea, it's a little less. So there you go. Those are the two areas. Now, could there be an extreme impact? That would be extremely dangerous or impossible driving conditions. Extensive and widespread closures, disruptions, life-saving actions may be needed. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go based off of that definition, and if that were to happen, like I mentioned earlier, kind of the best spot for that would probably be there, possibly here, and then maybe out in this region here. So that would be if you were to go for the purple, it would be underneath those little numbers that I posted on the screen. But good question. So there you go. Okay. Dallas at 9 a.m. Amy, you should have freezing drizzle by 9 a.m. in Dallas. And it'll be very light. So the problem with Dallas is it may be so light that everybody gets away with it for the first few hours. And then noontime hits. And then it becomes heavy. And now everybody's already out in the roads and they're already at work. And now they got to get home. That's what I'm talking about. So Dallas, like I said, because of the timing, because of the way it goes, because people didn't have enough notice and warning, I don't expect good outcome in Dallas. Just saying. Let's see. I-44, Jason. What about it? Yes, it does exist. And that seems to be a fun spot for winter precipitation. Ardmore, Ryan, you're going to have some freezing drizzle, slip roads. Hobart, little bit. Yeah, you're gonna have just really light sleet, a little bit of light freezing drizzle, but not much. Western Oklahoma is kind of escaped the bulk of this. Did I have a map here? Up. Let me show you. Let me show you this again since we're mentioning it. All right. So the first round, for example. All right. So let me stop it right about here. Okay. So your take home here on this first wave is that the bulk of the precipitation develops in central down to southwest Oklahoma, kind of in this zone. Now, that means don't expect much out here, out here, out here, or out here, all right? Especially for the first half of the day. And then as the day goes on, this will expand all in this region. But again, don't expect much where you have the X's. The Bartlesville maybe until late in the day. So yeah, don't expect a whole lot out here for you. Patchy drizzle, probably about all I got. You might get a little brief round of some light sleet, but you're not expecting anything as far as heavy accumulations. I think there was a map. Let's see, we did this one down in Dallas. If you guys are watching Dallas right now, this is just through Tuesday. This is ½ inch of freezing rain. So this will cause you power outages all across the Metroplex, and from there onward, let's see, go to Oklahoma. And yeah, see out here, there's just barely anything, 1/100th of a precipitation in that 2-day window. So again, don't expect a whole lot out here in western Oklahoma. And again, this is Altus down here, and actually the model's even less. I said maybe a quarter, and unless something comes heavier on that Wednesday deal, that's quite a bit lighter. And it could, because that Wednesday deal has potential to kind of turn things upside down. Let me see here. What did this one do? Yeah, it kind of just cuts you off in Altus. You're kind of on the fringe of getting anything heavy in that region. But again, the heaviest obviously is that I-44 corridor. So it kind of comes in through this and then comes up through here. So the ice accumulation is heaviest south of there, obviously. And then we kind of bounded it by I-40 as well for anything when it comes to either freezing rain with a little bit of sleet mixed in. And then everything north of that is a lot more sleet mixed in with some snow and a lot less freezing rain. So the power outage potential then is kind of forced to be resided in this zone, down out to here, down to here, to kind of like this and like this. And then within that, better potentials here, in this zone here, and then kind of in this zone I like here. So if I had my druthers, this is be a catastrophic icing event here and also here. All right. Norman seems to be in the clear. That's a good one. No, Alicia, Norman's not in the clear for anything. You guys are funny, man. Okay, so I will say this, and I get it because you're busy, but I do need you guys to be less busy 1 minute and go look at a map. Learn like counties. Learn what your county looks like. Because I know I show a lot of maps, and not all the maps have markers on there as to where the towns are, where the roads are. I get that, and but you need to learn at least what your county looks like. That way you can at least pick it out on the map, or at least see what the county next to you looks like. That way you go, oh, that one's over there next to us. It's west. That'll help you out. I wish I had maps with all kinds of every city on it, every county, and I do whenever we look at radar. So that's about the only time you're going to see every little nook and towny, town on here and city, and then all the highways and stuff. So, but that's current data, right? This is radar data. But that's about the only time you're going to see it on a map, because you can get really zoom in and get detailed. These big weather maps that have all the data on it aren't made for that. Now I can, on occasion, load in a map like this with weather data. Let me see for sample. Let me see if there's going to be one on here that's going to be any good. And then let me see what it gives me. This is a pretty limited data set, but there might be something on here usable. It does not have ice accumulation. Of course not. Yeah, so that's the issue with that. So because it's not really a model map, it's a rain map. It just has a little bit of model data on it. So, but you can see all those little pink numbers out here. This is all freezing drizzle. This is all over central Oklahoma. This is down here in Norman. So in other words, in theory, you guys that head out in Norman tonight, overnight, you're going to find some slippery roads, and it'll get worse toward daybreak. All right, but there's still water. You guys have a little bit of freezing drizzle. Again, Tulsa's got some freezing drizzle up here as well. So those are all the reports coming in. Same thing for McAllister. So, all right. Ellen. Yeah, man, map learning is a thing. We had to learn it back when I was in school. So, of course, I had to learn it doing the weather, obviously. And even then, the problem is if you don't use it, you lose it, right? I only can put so much in my brain, and I have to throw something away. If something comes in, something's going. Then you got to throw in COVID, right? So I've lost probably half the brain from COVID, so that only leaves me now half to work with. So now I'm really limited. I got to be careful what I try to memorize. I might lose some good stuff. All right, Sepulpa, went Phillip. Boy, you must be late to the party. Why are you guys so late? What's your excuse? The football games are over. And I know you weren't watching the other guys on social media or TV, were you? Because if you were, you missed out. I can't recap everything. I've already done that 3 times. Okay, so this is it. Let's see, it's 10:15. I got to get ready for bed. Some of us have to work in the morning. I don't know if I'm making it to work. I'm going to be like you guys, seriously. I already know what the forecast is, but I'm still not sure if I can make it to work or not. I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to look at the roadways. I'm going to check see if I can telework. I'm going to do whatever I can do. Because trust me, if it's a solid, slick sheet of ice, I'm not going anywhere. You can't drive on that stuff. And I don't want to wreck the car that I do have. So forget that nonsense. So that would be the smart play. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. But you guys, appreciate your comments tonight. The stars you sent me on Facebook. I appreciate the support, both financially when you do that as like a tip feature. Same thing you guys on YouTube with the super chat. By the way, YouTube, if you guys still there, like the broadcast. Do me a favor, just go hit the freaking like button. Yes, I said it. Hit the freaking like button. It'll take you 5 seconds. But no, if you do that, then that gets the algorithms. I don't know. It's something about YouTube algorithms. Don't ask me. I just work here. But yeah, do that for me real quick, and that'll make something better. I don't know what it does. It does something for the content creators. And if you don't like it, then they penalize you. I don't know how they penalize you. I just know they do. Facebook, same idea, man. Just hit the like button and then hit the share button. I think it's the same thing. Honestly, this is what I think is happening. There are so many content creators out there, right? So much material that the AI then, if you don't get enough interaction, either on comments or the like, then it demotes you and it pushes you at the bottom. And then that means your stuff is less seen or shown because they don't think that you're popular or anybody wants to hear what you have to say. So if you do the comments and you do the likes, then that tells the computers, oh, no, this stuff's important. People want to hear what this guy has to say. And then that boosts it back up, and then you're more likely to get notified. That's, to my understanding, that's how it works. So if you're going to play the game, if you're going to be on Facebook, if you're going to be on YouTube, you got to play the game. Hey, I didn't write the rules. I didn't write the rules, but I got to play by them. Anyway, so that's the latest I got for you. Thanks for all the love and the hearts. So tomorrow, I will do a lunchtime live update around probably 11:45, something like around there. It'll be a short one because I don't have much time for my lunch break. And then in the evening, again, right around 9:30 for sure. Now, if it's going nuts or there's something real pressing to talk about, I may do one after 5 o'clock or whatever. But that's usually my 2 times that I hit 11:45 and 9 and finally 9:30. And finally, if you haven't seen it yet, either on my Facebook wall or on my website, go read my latest blog and share that one for me. So that way, that has a summary kind of everything we talked about tonight as best I could, and a shorter version so that they don't have to watch this broadcast here for tonight. If they don't want to learn a bunch of meteorology 101, they just want the answer. If they want the 3-minute newscast answer, they can get it from the blog. It's a pretty quick read. Thanks, A. Brown. Appreciate you. So this is it, and then we'll see how things go tomorrow. You guys be safe, sleep well, and we will check in with you on Monday. Have a great night and a great week. Talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.